Thank you very much. How many of you guys have lived in Virginia 20 years? For 20 years now. You have quite a few. And I bet you have good reasons to stay here. The Navy brought me here 2 years ago. And now that I just retired after 23 years and 4 moves coast to coast, they're wondering why I opted to stay in Virginia and not go back to California, nor where my friends are in Florida. And I have some good reasons. I left my speech, but I'll go for it. Sorry. And I have to contemplate because while I was doing, some R&R and doing and helping my wife's business, as well as getting some feedback for some career options around the world, I still opted to stay in Virginia. Considering I really wanted to move to California since my mom is there and she's getting fragile, and I read this link in Huffington Post recently, 33 reasons why West Coast is cool and you should live there.
Yeah. Sure.
I beg to disagree on some of those. And after reading that, I would have been more persuaded and to convince my wife and my son to move back with me to California. But they'd rather stay here as well. My ideal place to live, since I'm retired or the military, is where me and my family can enjoy some relaxation, but at the same time take care of my family, have a good place to meet our friends, network, and live near the beach. That's one of my criteria. I have soft spot for that. Lots of parks, museums near the city, but less traffic. But most importantly, 8.0 score on middle school or high school, because priority is education. I know we cannot pick a perfect place to live, but after being on a lot of fine cities in the United States, after those coast-to-coast move, check on a lot of places, I opted to be here in Virginia for now. Number one is, the beach in California is too cold. I love the beach, and surprisingly, I've lived along the coast for 15 years, and I always wear my wetsuit. And here in Virginia Beach, you don't need that during summer. And I only wear them when, of course, during winter over here. I remember living along the coast 15 years, and I know it's a shallow reason for that alone. But usually properties along the beach tend to stay, the prices doesn't usually stay, so it could be a good investment. As well, a lot of the schools are pretty good along the coast, except for the one I live in California, which is below 4.0. So, number two is Virginia is, believe it or not, is culturally more diverse. Of course, you can't compare this to Los Angeles or San Francisco, but if you intend to buy a house, of course, you have to pay twice. But I believe this is a place for me because I was born and raised in the Philippines, and this is the only place, after seeing there's a Philippine Cultural Center, there are blocks and blocks of Asian food, which I love. So that's one point. And the third reason, in my 15 years living in Southern California, I've done a lot of day trips, going to Las Vegas usually, or Phoenix, Arizona, and there's not a lot of choices in terms of traveling, doing a day trip. You're pretty much stuck there, especially if you are from the Southern California. And so here, we've only been less than 3 years, about 2 years. I've been to Florida, New Jersey, Philadelphia, places like that. So there's a lot of choices to go to.
Sure.
Number 4, 4 seasons. So enough said about that. So although San Francisco sometimes is really beautiful during the fall. Number 5 and final reason is the great education that my son have experienced as a middle school. Well, he's turning middle school and looking forward to maybe stay here for the high school because we love not just the education but also, you know, the libraries are very user-friendly, and you have recreational center every 6 to 10 miles in from our home. So never experienced that living in California. To be fair, I would say I don't mind, you know, going back to Southern California if everything is equals and offer the right career opportunity, which I'm still pursuing, open to that. Number 2 is probably a good house where that is the price is right and along the coast. Number 3, if I get offered over there to get close to a school that has an 8.0 score,
Sure.
and of course near my mom. Of course, don't forget a tiebreaker for that will be an In-N-Out burger. I'm sorry for that, and I really love In-N-Out, so a good reason to move back to California. So if you have any suggestions or really to convince me to stay here in Virginia Beach, just go to my blog, tonyastro.com, or my LinkedIn, and put your comments. Thank you very much.